Hello, you're welcome to the channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, then you can do that already. This is Inside the App, and here we try to help you master Web3 and blockchain. In our previous video, we looked at control structures in for loops and while loops. In this video, we're going to continue from there and touch on do while loops. So let's get right on it. The do while loop is a control structure that repeatedly executes a block of code as long as a specified condition remains true. Unlike other loop structures, the do while loop guarantees that the code block will execute at least once, regardless of the condition's initial evaluation. So the syntax of a do while loop looks like this. Here we have a code that runs, and then we have the while keyword, and inside this bracket we have a condition. So as long as this condition remains true, the do while loop will keep running. I'm just going to go ahead and implement this in an example, trying to replicate the example we did before in the while loop. Let's say I have a variable I, a uint256 type variable I with initial value of 0. I can implement a do while loop from the example we did before by, in the previous example, in the while loop, you see that when I is less than 5, it's supposed to increment I. So I can increment I before the condition is checked. So I can say while I is less than 5. I'll close this. So this is how a do while loop looks. Missed the semicolon here. And then we can return the value of I so that we know the result. As you can see, what I did in this function, I declared a uint256 variable I with an initial value 0. And then I created a do while loop. I want to increment I as long as this condition is met, as long as I is less than 5. So if you see the way the do while loop runs, the code logic first runs before checking the condition. And if this condition is true, the code logic runs again and checks the condition. If the condition is still true, the code logic runs again. And that keeps happening until this condition turns to false. So I'm just going to quickly deploy this and test it out. So first of all, I compile the contract, it's compiling fine. And then I deploy this on Remix. Go straight to the function, which is the do while loop. I'm just going to expand it so that we can see the full name. Okay, so the do while loop. So I'm going to call the function and I expect it to return 5. Why should it return 5? Because currently I is 0. And when it iterates the first time, I will become 1. So as long as 1 is less than 5, it can continue. It iterates the second time, I will become 2. As long as 2 is less than 5, it can continue. It iterates the third time, I will become 3. As long as 3 is less than 5, it will continue. It iterates the fourth time, I will become 4. As long as 4 is less than 5, it will continue. And then it iterates the fifth time, I will become 5. And then it checks to see that 5 is not less than 5, and then it stops running. And so it's going to return the value of I, which would now be 5. So let's check this out. When I call the function while loop, I'm going to see that the return value is 5.